Yeah, what's up, people? Hope you're all well. So, been a bit busy the last days, but yeah, gonna try and maybe get some video out today. Might get a few videos actually, do some shorts maybe. Not too sure really, but we'll see. I've not really been putting as many of them out, but I might try and film some stuff today. Hello, Cece, how are you doing? Good to see you. I've seen you like post on my videos and stuff, so that's good. Yeah, just walking somewhere at the moment. Yeah, but I've just been a bit busy, so I've just but I'm back into it now. But yeah, I hope your day is going well. Let's say not too bad today. It's a bit overcast, but it's been a bit cold, hasn't it? I don't know. Like a few days ago, it got quite cold. It was about 14 degrees, which for the time of year, I mean, it's a bit on the cold side. It started getting a bit cold at night time. Like I almost had to put the heating on because I just kind of was like, I was starting to put like my jacket on to try and stay warm at night, but it has warmed up again a bit. So, but we're in like autumn now, so yeah, I've just been busy, but yeah. So I've been looking into some abandoned houses. So there's this thing, you've probably heard of a thing called squatters' rights. So that's something I've been looking into. Something that it can potentially be a way to get access to property and land for free. But, well, there is a catch. You have to be like maintaining that for like 10 years before you can actually claim it as yours. But you can put an adverse possession claim in, so then you can claim to be possessing that land adversely. So as in someone's abandoned it, and if you have access to it, let's say if there's any way into it, then you can then claim that is yours. As long as you're not given permission to use that land or something, then you are possessing it as though it's yours. Just be careful what you mean about abandoned houses or some stuff and land. Hi, Yasin, I hope you're well. Hit the like button, everybody. Just double tap your screens. So basically, yeah, so some I was looking into, and some of these properties are actually pretty darn good. Some of them are actually still in fairly good condition. It's just they've been left there. So depending on how long they've been there, then some of these properties nature's already taken over, but in some cases they're still salvageable. There's still something that you could do with it, and it could potentially be used for a business. Let's say if it's a big enough property, and then you could just like adverse possess it, and then you'd be using it as yours, so you could just like rent it out and do what you want with that. There's got to be a way to do that. Now, I don't know what the legalities are, but I've heard about people actually doing that. It's like technically you don't own it, but it's like if you are acting as though you own it, and then like people can then just rent it out to others or something on a short-term basis. Let's say you could like, I don't know, have a place to live. I'm just talking about an idea of like kind of something to do in the future, something that would, I mean, there is other options. Like apparently in places like Bulgaria you can get these houses for like a few grand. So it's a lot cheaper. It's like I was watching some videos about it. There was like this couple who'd put off the wedding so that they could buy an abandoned house in Bulgaria, and it was like $7,000, and it had a good bit of land on it, so they could even like put some animals on it and stuff. So but it was in need of a good amount of repairs and stuff. But it was a lot for what they paid for, though. So Bulgaria can be an option for people looking for things like, not really into camping. I mean, like, but basically I'm looking into like, kind of more into like getting some kind of property to my name, even if it means I have to go through some kind of process to do that or whatever. But I suppose there are abandoned houses that are for sale, like if they're depends if like on the circumstances of it and why it was abandoned and all that. Sometimes things have just been, for example, if someone died in that property or something, maybe it's in somebody else's name, but then they didn't like do anything with it, and then they've eventually just kind of got around to selling it or something. I don't know, but it's like, so it all depends really like on who owns that property, how long it's been abandoned for, because there's this thing in the law where if you've abandoned, basically what happens is if someone adversely possesses a property for 10 plus years or 12 years on unregistered land, then you can then claim it as yours, but they have 65 days to claim it off you as the legal owner. So then they get some document saying you have 65 days to claim this property. If they don't do that, then the property's yours. It's like I have family, but I don't really I don't live with family, so what I'm talking about in terms of an idea for the future and like what I could do to be successful in a way, because it could open a lot of doors, especially if you can get a decent sized one and you could potentially even like rent them out to people and whatever. It could cost a bit of money to do it up, but then the long term could be it could be worth it. Whereas buying a house nowadays to try and rent it out or anything, let's say, because I was doing some maths on it, let's say you wanted to buy usually they might only have like a few percent yields or whatever, and it's like you have to put down so much money, it's go through a whole bunch of crap, and it would take many years to even get back the money that you paid for it. It's a lot of, now you can sell it on eventually, but it's like, but the whole idea is that you're not supposed to sell it on, you're supposed to be getting dividends off the rent. It would take, let's say the yields were 7%, let's say, per year. That would still take, let's say if you're, so that would take over 14 years to pay it off. Even at a 7% yield. So that means, like it takes 14 years plus to pay for itself. So you're getting, let's say, a £100,000 house, £7,000 per year in rental income, which then takes over 14 years to pay back. If you get me? So, I mean, yes, the family is supportive and all that, but I'm just talking about some ideas. It's like, I'm just talking about in terms of what can be done to, like, make money and also just have some property to my name, because I think that's something that is kind of like important in my life, really. So it's like, obviously everybody's got their own values and whatever in life, but I think having some property to your name is something that's good, because then you've got some equity to your name. Even if it takes going through a whole process to do it, but I think it'd be worth it in the long run if it's like, you know, it's about the long run. It's what I see. It's like, but like I said, you know, with the way that people would traditionally, like, it's like it'd take many years to even benefit from because like say if you buy a mortgage, then you might be doing like say 25 years until you benefit from it, which is an awful long time. Sometimes even 30 years nowadays with how bad the mortgage rates are, that you would be paying back that mortgage for like 30 years until you become mortgage and rent free. It's like you're then can start to benefit from that. But it's like until then you're just, you know, you've had to put down a deposit which probably costs you several thousands of pounds, and then you're having to pay back the mortgage for many, many years. Now, some might argue that a better strategy would be to, instead of using that deposit for that, use it as a lump sum for a business or something, because the returns that you were getting would be far quicker in some cases. But obviously everyone's got their own arguments or whatever on that, but what's a good idea? So it's on about the whole having a, but it's just one of those things, yeah, in the long run it could be a good idea, but it's just, you got to be smart with how you use your money and all that, because it's, otherwise, you know, you're buying all these things that just end up hurting you financially. So, I don't know, I think like I said, doing, you know, getting like an abandoned house, it's like, might not sound ideal, but I don't know. It's something to think about, is what I'm saying. Like, it's something to look into, because you never know what's out there until you look. Yeah, some of it's like really derelict and run down, but it's like, it depends on what you should film the houses you find. Yeah, I could do that as like content, couldn't I? I could do a video on like looking for abandoned houses to you know, I mean, I could do urbex stuff and like look around. So a lot of people love that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, so I could do like it as like a kind of thing to try and, you know, for like ideas on like, you know, where would I, you know, go to do adverse possession. Thing is, it could piss off some people who urbex if I then, you know, went and claimed one of the prestigious houses or something as my own. I'm just thinking about that, how it would really kind of like, you know, like if say like some house has just been kind of, you know, it's like kind of like no man's land kind of thing, and I just claim it as my own, and I like barricade it or something so no one can get in it or something. That would really piss people off, I think. You know, if it's, especially if it's a popular one that a lot of people go to. Yeah, take someone with you. Yeah. It's just I'm not a DIY person, so I'm not really any good with like the DIY stuff. So I'd have to think if there's anybody that would be willing to help out with, say, like things like plastering, things like woodwork. I mean, I could do a little bit of woodwork. You know, I've done woodwork and things like that. I've even done a bit of tiling in college, but I never like tried to bother. But I mean, I probably could if I had to. Yeah. But I don't really have a lot of skills in that, but yeah, just but I suppose sometimes you have to like pay someone else to do it, or find some friends. This is why having connections can be good, because you can then find people who are either willing to do it for free or for mates rates. So having a lot of connections good. It's what I've come to realize, it's not what you know sometimes, it's who you know. You know, when you know the right people, then it gives you access to like free stuff, and gives you access to other people who you can network with, and you can, you just never know really. But like, you got some really dumb people who are like really successful, but they just happen to be in the right place at the right time. All they had was a vision, and they were just around the people that helped them create that vision into a reality. Yeah, renovation is a huge job, I know. But you've got to try and just, I guess it all depends on like what you're willing, how much you're willing to pay and what you can afford. But if you have other people, then you can sort of split it up a bit. Let's say if it's a big place, then it might be good to have a few people. You could have like a few kind of sectioned off areas in it where one part of it belongs to one person, and so then there's like privacy in the place, so that way it could be set up like a kind of more like it could be like a sort of, split up into different rooms with like maybe like a communal area where everyone congregates, perhaps something like that. Yeah, it could be something like that, but I don't know. But it could be like a sort of, I think I would like to have some privacy in my own place so I can do what I want, if you know what I mean. But yeah, but I'm just kind of like, it depends on where you do it. There's some like literal mansions that are like abandoned. It'd be a great project if people are willing to get involved in something like that. So if they've got some skills, we all have our own skills. Some people have the skills for like coming up with ideas and connecting dots and stuff like that. Whereas some people they have more in terms of like the financial side of things, good at dealing with that, being quite savvy and things like that. Then you've got people with like, say, the hands-on skills, and then you've got some people who are good at like negotiating and like business skills and being able to like then you've got the people who do like admin. So there's all sorts of like, so it might be a good idea to have a few different people with all their individualized skills. That way you come together as a team and it works out a lot better. As they say, don't they, that like the synergy of it, the sum of the whole is greater than the sum of the parts, because everybody alone would be kind of like struggling, because you haven't got enough time in the day to learn every single skill to a good level. Yeah, you can be a jack of all trades, but you won't master any of them probably. So there is it's okay. I'm just talking about like something grander, something bigger, a bigger plan going forward, something to work towards, because I need to have things to work towards in my life, something bigger. I have actually had the idea of like buying some mansion or something, having a few people live there and just kind of have it as like a fun house where you just kind of can just do what you want. You could blast music out loud and no one around can hear it because you're out in the country or something. But let's say you bought a $500,000 kind of place that was like had 6 bedrooms, let's say, or 5 bedrooms or whatever, and you had a few people join in and we all kind of put in some money for it. So like, I don't know, it's just but that might not be practical, as trying to find the people who have the money for that would be difficult. So it's just kind of, I'd like the idea of like, basically coming together with people who have the same kind of vision and want to make something of their lives. Like we could have our own like communal like gym area, for example. So we could just like buy a bunch of weights and things, and we could all try and do that in our own communal space. So we'd all like chip in money to like make it happen, and you know, it would be quite a fun thing to do, but it's just hard, isn't it? But if you had it, say, like somewhere like Bulgaria, where it's a lot cheaper, then you know the same house might only be like 200-300k. So then it might be a bit more manageable then. So you gotta like think about, you know, like the location. But then with places like Bulgaria, because we've come out of Brexit, so we've gone. I mean, to come out of the EU. It's like it's difficult now, because it used to be a lot easier to just move to another country, but now it's like, well, good luck with that. It's a lot harder now. You have to have certain requirements now to do that. There's a whole kind of load of BS that you have to go through to be able to move out. So it's almost like the Brexit thing has been kind of like to trap people in the UK. That's what you could argue that it's trying to do. I don't know. They did it so that now it's like you can't leave the UK, or it's a lot harder to leave the UK. Like, because then a lot of people have been wanting to leave the UK, but it has become more difficult. There is ways around it. A lot of people will do it more like nomadic style, where they will stay in a particular country for a few months at a time until their visa runs out. So there is ways of doing it, but if like you wanted to just go live somewhere in a stable environment, it is a lot harder now. You know, people moving even into just like Eastern Europe or something. Anyway, yeah, try and just have some kind of motivation to like. It's all about purpose, is what it is. It's about finding something that brings life purpose, because the motivation actually comes from purpose. It's like what motivates you to get out of bed in the morning. It's your purpose. It's your purpose to live. What is it what gives you purpose to live? You know? Because if you don't have that, then that's why a lot of people fall into depression, especially a lot of men who have depression, who they have no purpose in life, they have no dreams, aspirations, or they just don't believe that it can ever work out for them for whatever reason. So yeah, I'm trying to just stay more positive, and as you can see, I've been trying to post these videos and stuff, trying to focus on a more positive message, or even if it's something negative, I try to put a positive spin on it. So yeah, trying to up the production work on my videos, and it does seem like people have been enjoying it more. So I did ask someone about it and said, you know, what did you think of like my new style of content? And said, yeah, it looks more. I think it just looks more professional when you put more effort into it, and been looking at ways to try and enhance it. So a lot of it comes down to just, you know, if you want something, then you need to just like actually. I don't think any of those are any good. So right, let's see this one. So if you want something in life, then you have to kind of got an apple off the tree, so yeah, maybe I should wash it. I don't know. So people say you should wash it or something, but I don't really care. Yeah, just be you. But it's like, the thing is, when people say that though, it's like, yeah, that is kind of true, but like, you also got to add on, be the best version of you, because if being you right now is just being a couch potato and just being lazy, then that's not the being you that you should be trying to aspire to, because it's just not gonna make you happy. It's just because we can all like change our identity through finding ourselves, because a lot of people say just be you, but they don't even know who they are. And you are some of your experiences in life and your environment in your life. So by yeah, that is true. A lot of the big creators end up, because I think it just gets to their head a lot of the time. You look at a lot of these big ones, they get this power trip and they end up just falling off. I think you want to look at some of the ones who are more authentic, who actually have a more sustainable reputation and never get into any controversies. Yeah, that's it. Jack Doherty and who else is there? Loads of them. Trying to think. Remember there was one called Leafy is Here. A lot of his content was just trying to pick on, these little kids a lot of the time. So he ended up getting deplatformed and just basically was his own worst enemy for that, really. But like, some of his content was actually alright. It was just, some of it just went too far and just kind of like borderline just kind of bullying people and harassing them. I would actually say it wasn't just borderline, it was actually bullying, some of it. Someone actually caused them to break down over it. So what he was doing was kind of serious, and swallowed a potato whole. Oh yeah. And about that Bevo. Yeah, my name's Bevo, yeah, and I swallow potatoes whole. Know that my girlfriend, get with other guys, but it's alright because she's getting paid for it, That's all good, She's just, kind of just like, Yeah, no, it's just cringe. Because I think that if you're only famous because of something stupid like that, then you're not a real kind of like, what do you have? What is your actual value? Not a good legacy, exactly. Because that's when you have actual power, when you leave a legacy behind. Most of these influencers will be forgotten about in a year or 2 years. It's like, for example, people like Mr. Beast. Is he really going to leave a legacy? What is his? I mean, it's like, yeah, there was all this stuff about him giving friggin' money to homeless or whatever bullshit, but it was like, but he'll just be remembered for I don't think he'll even be remembered at all. But even if he was, he would just be remembered as a virtue signaler who just tried to do it to look good, or just to write off taxes. Because even when you see these people doing good, it's only a way to write off tax. Like they can just, oh look, I'm giving money to charity, or I'm giving away money. People thinking that you're doing something good when really it's just a way to write off some of their tax. Because when you have a business, you can actually write off expenses. If it's coming out of your business account and it's an expense, you can use it as a tax write-off. So things like giveaways, things like giving money to charity, giving money to homeless, if it's part of your content, you know, if it's part of your business, you can write that off as a tax expense. Sorry, as a business expense. So you don't have to pay as much tax. Even when you see him doing all the good stuff, it's he's a creep, but people still watch him though, but it's just a bunch of kids. But it's like, no one that's got 2 brain cells are really gonna, you know, sort of take him seriously. It's like people like Logan Paul, it's like, they only attract the really just, you know, most naive kind of people. But when they grow up, they're not gonna respect him. There'll always be someone else that'll come along and just like, they can't stay relevant forever. Bully. Who's a bully? Anyway, so yeah, Logan Paul, it's like just you know, because like it's the whole thing, you know, the fame gets to their head, the money and all that. And they think that they're invincible. That's the problem. They're saying that pride comes before a fall. It gets to your head, and then that's when things go really bad. But I guess if you've got that big of a, you know, channel, whatever, then in some cases, yeah, they can get away with more because they're like, there's always going to be some people that will still support them. So it's just, but it's risky to like, you know, make some of these decisions on your channel that could just completely destroy your reputation. You don't know how your audience would react to it, but they don't think about that. They just think about instant gratification and not thinking of legacy. Because to be a true influencer, I think that's what it's about. Because a lot of these so-called influencers, what are they actually influencing? You could say, well, they're influencing people to buy certain products, but a lot of them aren't really on a large scale actually influencing much, are they? Okay, they got you to buy this protein powder. Okay, I don't really call that an influencer. I don't know, it sounds a bit kind of a pretentious label that people use. Yeah, they're not even influencers, they're just, a lot of them are just a bunch of con artists. They're not, to me, an influencer would be someone like, I don't know, Mahatma Gandhi, I don't know, something like that, I guess. I don't know, someone with an actual, like, you know, someone like that, or someone like, I don't know, who else is there? You know what I mean? There's people out there that leave a good legacy behind, right? But yet you get these just like charlatans and grifters. But yeah, people can get annoyed and be like, oh, why do these people get famous? But all good things come to an end for these people, I think. Eventually they will get found out. It's like, there was this self-improvement YouTuber called Hamza, and even he lost a lot of respect from his fans. He kept flip-flopping and just, like, he couldn't even, like, keep to the same opinion for, like, more than a few weeks. So they were like, well, why are you saying it as facts then? But now he's gone, apparently he's gone back to the red pill or something, and he's just, it's like putting out a bit of a toxic message. So I remember he was telling guys that they shouldn't really see their woman more than a few hours a week. I'm like, come on. Like, that sounds like so much like kind of crap to me. It's like, I don't know. Like, how is that even healthy? Like, you know, like he talks because he's like, because he's the kind of guy who's, Probably because he's projecting his own, you know, kind of, I don't know what it is, he loves that kind of, he probably just loves to get like all this validation off a whole bunch of women. It could be, I think a lot of times it's because a lot of guys, that when they've not had all that, then they just love to be like kind of, probably just love to be kind of chased by a whole bunch of these women. So he got like famous, so he can now be like some kind of player and just, you know, give a bunch of women breadcrumbs or something, and then I don't know, what's that? It's not really what. But I just feel like a lot of these people are just promoting a kind of toxic message. It's like Tate, for example, is just another one promoting a kind of, I don't like to use the word misogynistic because I think that word's been overused, but it's like, it's just this kind of like a bit of a warped kind of view on women and things like relationship dynamics and things like that, and kind of, you know, I guess somewhat kind of hypocritical in some cases, where some of these people will, you know, talk about it's okay for a man to cheat on a woman, but not okay for a woman to cheat on a man, and things like that. Like, what do you want about? Cheating is cheating. It's not healthy to treat anyone like an object. Yeah, because that's what a lot of these people seem to kind of be doing, and I'm not saying that Hamza necessarily thinks like that, but I just think that he kind of gets more out of the validation of it seems, rather than actually connect. Because I remember, because he sabotaged the thing with a woman over some, what he considered as a, I don't know, I think it was more just, no, I think it was more to do with he wasn't comfortable in his own skin. So he'd done all this self-improvement just so that he could still feel, you know, self-conscious or whatever. And it's like, well, it was this big massive YouTuber, and you're telling me that, oh, it's because, oh, I can't be myself because I need to be, you know, alpha male. It's like, well, you already are. If you've made it on, if you've got millions of subs and you have a whole bunch of devoted fans, then I'm pretty sure in almost every woman's eyes you are on top of your game, and you're like, so how come you can't be happy with that and just that's all you need? Because surely you are almost, you know, almost impossible to replace at that point if you've already gotten to a point of, so I don't know really, we don't even know the real reasons. But then he talked about getting off with some, what he called a 10 out of 10 Russian woman, and he didn't really seem to have any, there didn't seem to be any actual emotions really. It just seems like he's, I don't know, maybe the real reason that it finished was, and I've got a theory on this, that it could be that he didn't feel like he was good enough for his current woman, and he just wanted to trade her in because he wasn't satisfied, because he was not feeling like that he was, I don't know what, because if he's talking about some comparing, you know, somebody else or whatever, and then I don't know. I remember watching some video where it was like going on about how it all happened, and I mean, you would think that just by being like a leader of a self-improvement movement, you'd be good enough for almost every woman. You know, he's jacked, he's charismatic, he's a leader. I mean, these are all traits that every woman wants, almost. So how could he not? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, when you pander to people's delusions, yeah, Wes Watson, he's just a clown. Yeah, complete just like, yeah. He's had a massive fall off and he's had to try and, he rents out his property to then seem like he's rich when he's not. He's desperately trying to promote a load of crap. But yeah. It's just, I don't know. I just feel like a lot of these people have just jumped on a bandwagon of like, oh, I see that there's some disenfranchised males, and like, let's tap into their insecurities and then, you know, offer the solution for it, you know, behind a paywall. Now, I don't see anything wrong with selling solutions. I think it's good to do that as if that's your purpose, but sometimes people will try and deliberately manipulate to make them feel even worse about themselves, to make them feel like they're not good enough as they are, instead of the focus being around self-acceptance. And because I think that is a big part of the self-improvement that is actually, you know, kind of it's about working on yourself in terms of mentally, because if it down mentally, then you are missing half of it. In fact, I'd say most of it is mental. If you can become better mentally and come more from like a place of gratitude and acceptance and become more spiritually inclined, if you will, then that's where you're going to feel more abundant, even with less. Because a lot of these people, they keep chasing all the money, they're distracted with, I need more and more to feel happy, then they're never going to be happy. So, really, well, yeah, but yeah, it was like 500,000, I think. And he's just a complete, so he was putting out good content apparently one day, but then his content was just, you know. There was that Kali Muscle as well. And he's gone down in flames as well. Because the problem is, if you try and put out some delusion about having your physique naturally when it's not, then it's like, you know, you're going to eventually get found out. Look at Liver King, for example. Something's going to come out in the wash, you know. Something's going to come and bite you on the ass. Like, we all slip up at some point. There's going to be some paper trail at some point that's going to expose your ass. And it's not going to end well. Hello, Abel. Yeah, welcome in. Just eating an apple that I picked off a tree. It's good to have you here anyway. But I might be back on later. I just kind of ranting about these gurus and whatever, these so-called influencers who are just toxic. They're promoting a toxic message. And it's not self-improvement at all, it's actually self-destruction. Or self-stagnation. Because, in fact, in some ways it is self-destruction, because it's like, some of these people might have been happier before they got into it all. Now that life has become too serious. Look, great way to put it, yeah. It's like life's become too serious for them. They have no social life, they have no nothing. It's like, I think there's a point to monk mode, but it's also toxic if you embrace it too hard, where it's like to a point where you never have any time for anything else. There isn't any actual point to doing that anyway, because like you're kind of like, you need a certain amount of downtime. So in that downtime is a good opportunity to then work on other aspects of your life, like your social life and your other personal goals that you have, rather than just money. Like, you know, we need to just kind of prioritize things that actually make us happy, like friends or family or whatever, and activities outside of just trying to purpose of making money. Because if that's all you focus on, then you're never going to be happy, and you're never going to be happy with how much you've got as well. It's like, at what point are you going to be happy then? Probably never. There's workaholics, and all they do all their life is work. But you're just going to burn yourself out. You'd actually make more progress by doing less, because the quality of the work that you do beyond a certain point actually will diminish, because all that stress, it's going to make it a lot harder to actually come up with a, like an actual, sensible solution or whatever. But when you take time out, that's when your brain can relax and be more, and it's going to be, when you're stressing out so much of like work, your brain hasn't got time to process things and connect the dots and things. And oftentimes the best solutions and best ideas are come up with when we're not thinking at all and we're just living our life. So this is what they say about work smarter, not harder. And we get smarter by living life, experiencing things. And you can't do all that just by reading a screen or something. So travel, some point, I do plan on that. But like I said, I want to do urbex possibly, and do like as a thing of possibly adverse possessing going forward potentially. I don't know how I'm gonna do that, because I don't know if there's a thing where you're not allowed to possess another house at the same time. I'd have to look at that. I think it said that no one else is allowed to possess that at the same property at the same time. But well, that's obvious, really. But it's about kind of finding somewhere that's not too hard to do up, and could be somewhere that is a property that I could own, and then, but there's a place in London called Billionaires Row, so I was looking into that. I don't know if it's something that's possible though, but some of these would have been valued at millions upon millions. And imagine if I actually gone through all that and then actually sold it. That'd be absolutely insane. But it's just maybe I wouldn't even want to, because I could just generate so much from it, like in rental income or something. I could turn it into like a sort of either holiday homes or something, I don't know. Because let's say there was like 10 bedrooms, let's say I rented them all out every day. Maybe not every day, but let's say every day I made possibly upwards of like £1,000 or something. You could be looking at making hundreds of thousands a year just off rental income doing something like that, but it would take a long time to be able to get to that point. Oh yeah, GoPro camera. Yeah, well I could try and get something like a mount or something, so I could have it sort of stable or something, but I don't know. Does it really matter though? I mean, if it shakes a bit, I don't know why people really care about that kind of stuff. It's just, if it's a bit shaky, so what? As long as you can see what I'm showing, then I don't know what the problem is. But I don't know. Yeah. But it's just about kind of doing something I could then. The thing is, if I did try and get it done up, then I definitely want to do some rental on it, because even if I didn't get to be able to actually own the property, then at least I'd have some income during that time, which I could then use that money to actually buy somewhere. So you start to feel seasick. I guess it depends on each individual. I guess that some people may feel that. I guess, I don't know. It's not something that I have issues with, so I guess it's just me, but some people get motion sickness, don't they? So I have to try and be a bit more kind of mindful, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, we'll be getting off here in a sec, guys. Yeah, like I said, I'm going to try and get a new video out later. It's been a bit of a slow chat, but oh well, at least you stuck around and chat with me, so I'll get off now, guys. Alright, okay, I'll see you later. Bye.